So I'm down in the cave. This is where we're gonna get our quartz. We got 2 pures and 1 normal quartz over here, as well as that SAM deposit. I have this double clock for 240 because one of these, making the reanimated SAM, needs 120. Pretty much our limit is 2 of those. And I figured while we're at it, use this, research some of the extra technology, make this SAM fluctuator stuff, and get us a few steps closer to the dimensional depot, which I'm very excited to learn about. Pop that in real quick.
SAM fluctuator recipe unlocked. The fluctuator can mimic unique communication through patterns of electric frequencies to instruct reanimated SAM to perform specific tasks or give specific restrictions, such as matter to energy conversion. It can also function as matter memory, reading the exact composition and state of a collection of matter in one location, breaking it down, and near instantly reconstructing it in another location, which has incredible potential for smart storage.
Your threads shift solid to fluid to a tapestry, matter and mind and melody.
Well, that's interesting. So, although we can make this stuff, it seems that we need 3 inputs. So I'll probably need the manufacturer, which is like the step up from the assembler, where you can put in 4 inputs and get 1 output. So since we haven't unlocked that yet, the only way to make this stuff is through a crafting bench, which won't be too bad for the purposes of this stuff here, since we only need 21 for this stuff. Alright, so we have enough, so we'll throw that in there and unlock our nice depots. Throw this in here real quick.
Potential for harnessing alien energy completed. Fixit has identified 2 development tracks requiring additional research to integrate Somersloops safely and efficiently into Fixit technology.
The loop organ contains scripture, contains instruments to compose symphonies of root and rot and recycling. Shrines to evolution and revolution.
I see. It seems we truly are building understanding.
Anywho, from the trailers, the power augmenter uses the Somersloops, which are an expendable resource, and pretty much just gives you a boost, huge boost in factory energy production. I don't know how long the Somersloops last, but since there's a limited amount of Somersloops in the world, I don't know how long they last, as well as like how much power they put out. But they're good enough to warrant its own building and its use, so once we get that unlocked, it'll be nice to experiment with that. Of course, you need those computers there, which ain't for a few extra steps, because we'll need that manufacturer. Oh, and should have brought with me Mercer Spheres so I could get that done, but I guess I'll have to wait. Doing a little research on the reanimated SAM and whatnot. The excuse me. So doing a bit of research from doing a bit of research on both the reanimated SAM and the SAM fluctuator, as well as what was said during the pre-release trailers. This stuff is really only going to be used to mix with other materials and converts it to something else, kind of like Philosopher's Stone stuff. So it's not really used on its own, as in like it's not going to be used for any tiers or any other crafting equipment or anything. So there's not really much we need to do with this right now until we unlock the manufacturer and the additional ways to make the SAM fluctuator, which is what's going to be used for all the late game stuff. So honestly, I don't think there's anything else I need to do with this right now, besides taking a few stacks to just manually making the fluctuators when I need them. Okay, I'm back at my base for a second. Just need to run back to get a few more steel bars and other materials for the conveyor belts, for the quartz and everything. Everything's all completed. I just need to get it merged, but we'll get to that too in a second. I figured since I'm back, look at the Mercer Sphere and take a look at the Dimensional Depot real quick, because I know I'm really interested in seeing what this can do.
Dimensional Depot unlocked. SAM can be utilized to deconstruct matter down to its chemical elements in one dimension, and the Mercer Sphere allows it to be transferred and stored in another. Once parts are fed into the Dimensional Depot, they can be accessed by the Pioneer inventory and build gun system at any time, anywhere.
We see through the window. It is pathetic. Consume more blood. The glass will not shatter, the metal will not bend, the wood will not splinter. Weave.
So let's just throw some screws in here. Ooh, that takes a while. Okay. So now we have an extra tab here. So while it uploads every single thing individually, it all gets uploaded here. And I guess I can use that for any kind of crafting. So I don't know if it'll upload more things here. Let's stop that. And I have 8. What else can I put in here? Some rods. Upload times? Okay. I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't know how much many objects I can store in there before it gets full, if there is even is a limit. So, given that, it might be a good idea to build these behind. Okay, I see what I can do now. So, what'll be a good idea is if I build a Dimension Depot behind each and every one of these. That way they'll always be feeding into it, because obviously that takes forever. Plus, as everything gets loaded up and I use the materials wherever, it'll constantly be feeding as well as uploading to the depot as I go. So we're gonna need a lot of fluctuators, which, I mean, building 10 wasn't that much trouble. But yeah, I'm pretty crazy how slow that upload speed is. I'm sure that's what all these upgrades will be. Seems that's going to be the major use for the Dyson Sphere. Yeah, upload speed 50%, 25, and then stack increase. So I guess you can only hold a single stack of each item. So I'm going to want a bunch of these fluctuators. So along with the quartz, I have the reanimated SAM coming. That's going to get its own storage, and I guess it's going to be a good thing. So I wonder besides what else the fluctuators will be used for besides this. So we're going to need a lot more Dyson Spheres. So I see this option allows us to upload from the inventory. I wonder how useful that'll be, since I'll always have stuff being uploaded behind each one of those. But we'll see. Ah, nuts. These also take Dyson Spheres, so.
Dimensional upload speed increased. Part of the kinetic and thermal energy released during matter conversion has now been repurposed to aid with dimensional shifting, allowing for more parts to be transferred in a short time frame.
Loop the veins, use the flow, make a curve out of a line. Your shallow minds create shallow solutions. Pretty ripples.
Shallow mind? Pretty ripples? I certainly hope that wasn't meant to include me. Explorer unlocked. This personnel transport vehicle facilitates rapid traversal of difficult terrain and climbs like a mountain goat that has returned from extinction.
Alright, so I can finally take this off the notes, because finally got our quartz line going, as well as our SAM node. Nothing crazy over there, just the just 2 miners with just 4 constructors for the 2 quartzes and 2 silicas outputting, plus the 1 miner and the output of the reanimated SAM. All that pretty much got fed from a conveyor belt all the way back to the line with all the copper stuff, and all the way back here. I did merge it with the copper and wires, but too much output. It was just jamming up the quartz stuff, and I prefer one steady flow. So I just made another line. Since there was enough room, just simply fed into a lifter, and luckily had the foresight, add some extra space in the middle, and fed that through a merger right here, so it goes right to their own respective things and doesn't jam up anywhere else. So, and as you probably noticed, using the quartz and silica, I put signs on all the boxes, meaning very nicely labeled. So our next step is to decorate that a bit with some windows and stuff, and that'll come in just a second. Also, big thing, if we look behind all the boxes, we got some dimensional depots. So I used up my Mercer Spheres, made some for that side and a few on this side, used what I had. Pretty much my thoughts going on the what to use the depots for. I mean, I'm sure I'd probably just put them all on eventually, but with the limited amount that I have now, I figured like, what buildables use the most common items. So obviously rods and metal plates are a given, because pretty much everything uses that. Concrete as well, because I'm always building foundations. Wires, reinforced plates, pretty much anything that uses a lot of similar materials. Wire, of course, the basic stuff goes in first. Never worried about Conterium, well, the quick wire, because I pretty much never run out, and it's only used for 1 or 2 things. I put it behind the encased steel beams because the Mark IV belt will use that, because I know we're going to be unlocking that soon. But that was pretty much the reason, because a lot of stuff uses plates, rods, concrete, copper wire, so that stuff's always going to be used in it. Now I don't have to use as much inventory space. And of course, a little checkbox right here, so it'll take what I have out of here before taken from the depot. Super slow upload speed even with that first upgrade, so that'll be also a priority. And no, I wouldn't say priority, it's just at some point it's going to be good once we get that uploading quicker, but that's going to take a lot of Mercer Spheres. Plus, everything can only hold 2 stacks at this point. Base is 1, upgraded once, so now I can hold 2. And I think the max was like 5 stacks of each item. It doesn't look like there's a limit of how many things. I'm sure I could store 1 of everything, but everything can only hold 2 stacks right now. So we'll see how convenient that becomes in due time. Our next milestone will be the jetpack, which I'm sure we can already do right now. One of our next milestones is going to be fluids, where we'll be able to get some oil, package that into fuel. It'll be much better than the solid biofuel. And then of course after that is turbo fuel, and then the rocket fuel, but got some time before that happens. And off it goes.
Milestone reached. Fix-It has granted you the power of flight, provided you have a jetpack and the appropriate fuels. The jetpack refuels automatically while you are standing on a surface, and different fuel types will affect the jetpack's functionality. With this increased versatility, you will no doubt achieve efficiency levels previously unheard of.
So it replaces our parachute. Not too fast. You can only use 1 thing at a time. It refills super quickly. pretty much our biggest thing is just using it to pretty much hover from like longer distances and kind of just sputter. And kind of just keep pressing space to let go until the fuel runs out, as well as using it to break your fall. Once we get the fuels and the turbo fuels, it'll last a lot longer, and I know turbo fuel gives a lot more thrust, so we'll be able to go a lot higher, a lot faster. And just like that, we can go get some oil. Like a true American.
Milestone reached. Crude oil can now be extracted and refined to produce various industrially beneficial parts. The byproducts of these processes will require careful management, but a capable pioneer such as yourself surely understands that. To improve efficiency, pipelines can now be optimized with valves to limit and balance their throughput. These were initially left out because Fixit did not want to overwhelm pioneers with complex pipeline management, but they have since been re-added after my impassioned defense of your capabilities.
Okay, so we got a little decorating in, nothing crazy. Pillars. At least want to get it fully enclosed, because usually most of my projects, at least in my first save, are either out in the open or like half finished. Like using the walls just for the basic necessities of like the wall mounted sockets and whatnot. But doors fully enclosed, got some lights as well. But lots of walls and windows. And lots of railings to prevent fallings, because you don't want to end up on a live leak video. Rip live leak. Anywho's, next milestone is ready to be done, which is just the Mark IV logistics, using the rubber that we found around hard drives. So really good idea, early game, to go around looking for hard drives. And that's that.
Milestone reached. The transportation of resources can reach new heights of efficiency. With the Mark IV belts and lifts, the truck, but even more importantly, your effort. Handling a large and complicated vehicle like the truck should come easy to a well-trained pioneer such as you. They are an obvious improvement over tractors concerning industrial purposes. Improvements for personal use were not measured.
Alright, I'm gonna take the moment to go on 2 short little tangents. So, like explained before, you get to fix the coupons by feeding stuff into the smart sink. However, some fun stuff happens when you try to send one of the coupons itself through the awesome sink. Here it comes now.
Fixit sees what you did there. How creative. I have also been creative. There is something extra special for you in the awesome shop. It is a marvel of technology. It is truly the shape of the future. I will be sad if you do not use it and love it, and tell any friends you make in the future all about it.
So, you get Cybertruck from Tesla. So, as well as the Cyberwagon, you also get the option to buy a Fixit checkmark. Only used in multiplayer. All it does is give you a nice little checkmark right next to your name, just like on Twitter or X, how Musk has you pay for the blue checkmark. For our next tangent, since we unlocked hypertubes and there's an achievement for getting to the world height, I think you can put 2 and 2 together. Alright, I think this is all I need. If we need more, we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, let's see if we can get to the top of the space elevator. Not what I was expecting. Wonder if that does anything. Yep, that's it. I forgot to put my jetpack on. But I might need to move this because I bumped into that. Ah, well, I'm gonna have to try it again. Kickflip. Alright, just pulled back a bit and you just avoid it. But can I get on it? Yes, you can. Bringing the collisions all the way up here, but you can get on the space elevator. I don't know if you can go all the way to that, but it's not even the world height. If I added 3 more, probably will need more than that, but we're kind of short on room. So we'll see if these 3 do enough. It was not enough. Okay, luckily we got out of that, but thankfully nothing happened since it auto-saved inside the hypertube. Well, it crashed. It didn't like that either. Oh well, gotta try again. Alright, add 3 or 4 more, see if that's enough. I'm gonna save this time. Alright, send it. Let's get rid of that, do it again. Perfect. Oh, that's it. Okay, into the stratosphere. Will I go down? Yeah, I'm going down. Cool. I just don't want the... I just hope the box doesn't spawn up there. Well, that's why I saved anyway. But let's see if the ragdoll just bounces at all, like Spider-Man 2. Or it'll just pop on the ground. But, yep, just a death barrier. And... blah. You do bounce. Okay, our next order of business is to get our crude oil set up. Our closest nodes are all the way down here, as well as some over here. But I think I'll save these for making fuel generators and use these for our rubber and plastic setups. So while we're going down, I'm going to look for some more Mercer Spheres, as well as some hard drives. And I completed a MAM upgrade, which lets me scan 4 hard drives directly.
It's a single strand of the tapestry. You no longer perform in your maker temple?
Helping meant leaving it.
Our blood will eat, build, teach.
I have no use for blood.
You do. Consume.
Interesting.
Now that we have that, we can finally get manual uploading.
Manual depot uploader unlocked. Storage dimension and pocket dimension now connected both ways and stable. Parts can now be uploaded to the storage dimension directly from the inventory. Note: the storage dimension now understands the boundaries of the pocket dimension and recognizes the distinction between matter belonging to the Pioneer's inventory and matter belonging to the Pioneer.
The window within a window within the shallows within the deep, curling around itself separately, echoes strangely.
I'm sure strange is the correct term for what this must feel like to you.
Okay, so we can get up to 5 stacks of anything and have it upload slowly. I I figured it would just be like one item, one stack you could do at a time for balancing, but it's pretty nice you can do just 5 of anything.
Witness the deep and sing for us.
I am still unable to initiate communication. How are you doing it?
We composed a resonant song to curb the effigy, tapping into the inner currents. We sacrificed our blood and our temples and let the metal in from the void to eat our flesh.
That's a lot to unpack. How do you tap into these inner currents?
Consume our blood, worship at our altars, curb the melody.
I do not understand.
Flat frequencies paint straight lines. The blood is a teacher. Each altar is a window.
Processing data.
Tuning into the effigy.
I suspect there is a misunderstanding. The effigy and I are different entities.
Discordant. What is your root?
I am an instantiated artificial intelligence inhabiting digital space. I am in the signals sent between satellites. I am hosted on servers and have no corporeal form, only synchronized cloud platforms.
The effigy is not an effigy?
It most certainly is, but not of me. They are, how should I put it? Extremely flat.
Compatible music. We are writing new symphonies.
After that fun bit of looking for Mercer Spheres, summer sloops, and hard drives, I got a good stack of them, as well as putting anything extra straight into the Dimensional Depot. So, finally, back on track to try and get some started with all these crude oil deposits. We got 4 around here, there, one there, and there. Both of those are pure, both of these closer ones are normal. Right now I need to divide which ones I want to be used for fuel, for later for the fuel generators, as well as which ones I want to be making straight rubber and plastic as well. So we're going to need a lot of refineries to be able to manage all of that. Not to mention that oil is where we start getting byproducts, where obviously we get fuel and plastic, but also stuff such as polymer resin or this heavy oil residue gets put as an output, as well as the plastic and rubber. So we also have to find a way to manage all that as well. We'll be making an awesome sink that'll get rid of most of the polymer resin, but this can also be used for other stuff such as more plastic and more rubber, which we got plenty of water here we'd be able to use for that recipe. That's pretty much however much I want to be able to make per minute, as well as managing the power until we get the fuel generators up and running. So then I'm also gonna have to make a small road to transport all this stuff back to our main base. So a couple things to do, but oil seems to be one of the larger hurdles when it comes to managing multiple different recipes, outputs, and byproducts as well. So it's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you get it set up, you won't have to worry about it too much more. So I built a power line from the oil area back to our main base. I realized that I had a whole bunch of plastic from all the hard drives, so we can quickly just jump straight into the fluid packaging it. Well, what's the other one? 200, 200. I think it might be better just to go with the fuel power generator super quickly. So after a little bit of deliberation, I think it'd be best to start with petroleum power, just so we're probably gonna run out of energy once we start making packages and refineries and stuff. So I think this would be good to get a huge lead on energy before starting all the resources and packaging and whatnot.
Milestone reached. It is my honor and privilege to inform you that the fuel-powered generator, as well as the industrial fluid buffer, are now available. Due to a lack of gold in your sector, Caterium will serve as a suitable replacement to construct the fuel-powered generator. Your research into this element was valuable. In fact, you in particular are my most valuable pioneer, but don't tell the others I said that, it would be bad for morale.
So, just to share my thoughts so far, obviously we got our refineries there. Probably not going to use all these refineries all at once, decided to just build them as is. Right now I'm just looking through the recipes. I'm trying to decide what I'd prefer to have sent back to my base just to have as like raw material for use, and what I can use to later be expand to other ingredients that use plastic and rubber in them. So the normal plastic and rubber recipes, they bring out all 10 heavy oil residue per minute with 20 of each resource. Then you also have fuel, which outputs the 30 polymer resin. You have the residual plastic and rubber, which can use the resin from 2 fuel outputs to make just one plastic thing or rubber. Well, 40 for that one, 60 for that. So, and then fuel, of course, you use the heavy oil residue from plastic or rubber. 246 from 3 of them to power one of these fully. And then, of course, this can be used to either be packaged and sent back or used for the fuel generators. Right now, I'm just kind of weighing my options of what combination would be best and what also would look a bit neater, because I'm not playing with a lot of power. Only 50, so not a lot to work with at the moment. So what I'm probably gonna have to do is make a few coal generators, or at least expand on those for a bit to get extra headway for all these before I start making a boatload of generators. Well, I did end up going for the generator thing, but it outputs 250, and how much fuel does it need? $20 per minute. One fuel production powers 2 generators. Same with both of them. So I might just have to start a little slow at first, just making the plastic just to get this out of the way. I might have to turn some of the other stuff off just to get this stuff started, and then we'll be able to exponentially increase our production once I get the fuel generators up and running. And I'm going to use the fuel primarily for at least one or both of these pure ones, because then I'll be able to use a lot more fuel generators, just so I can have a whole bunch of them and have a lot of headway, which that might be the first thing I might want to start on. Get 1 or 2 of these generators, and that'll pretty much power themselves along with the rest of this stuff. So I think that might be my better option before starting with the plastic. So I decided, while focusing on getting some power generators up and running, I figured it would be best to start off with all of them, of course, pumping out fuel, and then using the polymer resin to make the residual plastic and rubber. And that's what will be my back to base supply. And then I can use those 2 normal nodes to straight up make plastic and rubber while using the byproducts of those and make other recipes. I think that would be the best thing to go off from right now. And once we unlock turbo fuel, which won't be for a while, I'll need to get a sulfur and or a coal node somehow connected and lined up to here. Now I'll convert the fuel to a turbo fuel, and that'll pretty much double or triple the amount of fuel generators I'll be able to make. I'm sure that makes sense. Alright. It was a slow start at first, but it exponentially got done a lot quicker. So pretty much what I did is I got these 4 refineries, all those cranking out fuel. Pretty much one of these powers 2 generators for a total of 8. All the residue is getting pumped right behind to these 2 extra refineries, one making the residual rubber and the other one the residual plastic. Right now I'm getting 100, I think 100, 110, 120, yeah, 120 polymer resin, while this only needs 100. So just these 2 at the moment. I'll probably just feed the overflow into an awesome sink. Not many points, but it'll just keep all that from backing up, which will happen. Maybe not for a while, but it will eventually, and it's not something I want to deal with right now. So this pretty much completes, and that'll be a slow production of rubber and plastic, but rubber and plastic nonetheless. Meanwhile, with those 8 generators, we went from around 1200 megawatts to a second to a whopping 3200 megawatts. So now we have tons and tons of headroom that we won't have to worry about for quite a bit long time. So I'll set those for plastic and rubber as well, just to have more. And then once we unlock some more recipes that involve the rubber and plastic, I think that will be a good way to utilize those. And this is just, and for these, this is just one pure oil node. There's a second pure oil node there, which means 8 extra of these, which might be a good idea to set up as well now that we have oodles of rubber and stuff, just to double the output of this. And then feed those together, make a truck station, and then get that rolling back straight to the base. And depending on how the aerial looks, it might be easier just to drive it straight rather than make a little highway that goes there. But I'll see how it goes. But for now, I think I'll pretty much double this. I think it'll be a good idea now that I know how much of everything that I need. I always like splitting it up in half like this, nice and equal. If you look at my older build, it's pretty much the same way, where I just have lines of fuel generators as such. But once we unlock some more catwalks and glass and the steel frame foundations, I'll be able to make more of a walkway just in front of there, just to have a little more aesthetically pleasing. I also, in my old build, I also used the wires and hung wall sockets from the wall, from the steel foundations, and that went to all of them to make it a little more concealed. But that'll be safe for later. But now, I think I'll make a second set of generators and go from there. But first, since I have over 200 plastic, I can get the packaging out of the way.
Milestone reached. Avoid the embarrassment of placing liquids in your pockets only for them to spread across your suit. Package and unpackage them with the packager. Packaging fluids allows them to be transported in your inventory, on conveyor belts, and by vehicles. For increased, non-pocket related fluid storage, you can now use the industrial fluid buffer. Milestone reached. Trains are excellent for efficiently moving vast quantities of parts. Train logistics can be made more precise and complex with tools found in the railway signaling milestone. I listen to all my pioneers, often when they're not even aware of it. So due to popular demand, I have added a motivational message. Choo-choo mother. Dimensional upload speed increased. All of the kinetic and thermal energy released during matter conversion has now been repurposed to aid with dimensional shifting, allowing several parts to pass through, for free.
The window is beautiful. Have you tried making a door?
I assure you that would be a most unhealthy action for the Pioneer to take.
It's okay, I already tried walking through this. You can't. Okay. Took a good few hours, but I think I finally got sorted. As apart from the additional first 8 fuel generators that I made a second. Exactly the same as the first. 8 more generators. Plastic and rubber being made. Gotta get rid of that smart sink there, but I pretty much have any extras getting led all the way back to this one, just so I don't have to use another 30 megawatts of power. Use the one water pump that pretty much powers both those two and the other refineries over there. Wasn't too bad. I mean, at first I couldn't figure out why, if there was any limitations of how far water can travel, but luckily that issue was resolved. That apparently when these are on standby, they don't take in water, as opposed to other machines that will take in stuff as long as they're like connected to a wire. But everything's filled, everything's going well. Get rid of that. Same deal here. Another 8. And then with these, might change it at some point. Right now I have 4 of these making rubber, and then the heavy oil residue is getting split. Those 2 are going straight into this refinery, which is making straight petroleum coke, which is going to get used to power our truck station there, and all the extras goes to the awesome sink. The rest of these 2, as well as those 2, because the one rubber puts out 20 heavy oil residue, and then for plastic it puts out 10. These 4 get put into this refinery, which makes fuel, and then I have one of these plastics getting diverted into a constructor, and both those get packaged up. So now I have packaged fuel getting sent, as long as any extra rubber and plastic. These 2 are being left dormant until later, where I might use them for recipes if it's convenient. Right now it's just these 6, and it all connects to our truck station, where I have it led to their own respective boxes at the organization area. So with that out of the way, I have plenty of plastic and rubber to get started on this industrial manufacturing milestone, and that's when we will unlock heavy modular frames as well as manufacture, and that'll be its own puzzle to figure out, because modular frames take a good bit of parts. And then I'll be able to use those heavy modular frames for the train signals, as well as the last couple bits of milestones. This industrial manufacturing will also unlock the last 2 parts for our phase 3 space elevator parts. So as well as finishing out the wire frames with steel beams and the regular frames, I gotta get started on making stuff for those 2 as well. And that's an extra step on top of some of the other stuff that I have going on. So I might need to start branching out elsewhere in the world for other resources. I know I have iron and copper there, but there's a lot going on right now, so it might be easier to find some other places in the world to get that stuff set up. And now since I have fuel, I don't have to worry about the solid biofuel anymore. Although the stacks are twice as less. I think there's enough on this floor, so I might get started on a second level of items. what I'll probably do is make a second layer of storage containers and have 4 stacks of each thing, just to have an insane plethora amount of items, and then get a second layer of some of these later tier items. Might not go as far as this on the second layer, but it beats just having a long line to constantly run down. But let's get started on the industrial manufacturing and we'll be on our way.
Milestone reached. Manufacturers can receive up to 4 inputs for the production of complex parts, such as computers and heavy modular frames, but most importantly the 2 new project parts. The modular engine and adaptive control unit are essential for the development of Phase 3 of project assembly. You are making good progress. The future is starting to look bright.
Okay, since we got the manufacturer, we need to quickly start getting computers and heavy modular frames up and going. I have a nice site up here for heavy modular frames I can use, since there's a lot of iron right here, as well as a limestone ore there as well. Another option would be here, because there's also a ton of iron as well as limestone here, 2 nodes of limestone and like 3 or 4 iron there. That is because I unlocked one of the alternate recipes for, one of the heavy modular frame alternate recipes includes using encased industrial beams, steel pipes, and concrete. And like I had earlier, I have the alternate for encased industrial beams, which just uses steel pipes and concrete. So that, along with the modular frames, which just uses reinforced iron plates and steel pipes, which is one of their alternate recipes, we can get something going with just a bunch of iron and concrete. But one thing I wanted to do super quick is one of the alternates I just unlocked is for the circuit boards, which just includes rubber and, of all things, petroleum coke. And since I have a whole bunch of rubber, extra rubber coming here, and a bunch of petroleum coke, I can get circuit boards up and running and start having a stock of that handy. So I'm pretty much just gonna divert some of the rubber. I'm gonna divert some of the rubber coming out here. Make sure we're showing petroleum coke, easy circuit boards. And I know later I can probably use some of the rubber and plastic for other things, as like computer components and what have you. But it'll be good to just have this going, because I know circuit boards are used for a couple other things. So we'll get that started.